Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. The screens in front of him showed something that made his stomach feel heavy. 200 alien ships had appeared at the edge of their solar system 3 days ago. The ships were huge. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect lines across space. Their formation looked like a textbook picture of how armies should march. Dr. Lisa Parker walked up to Jake. She carried a tablet full of data about the aliens. Her face showed worry and excitement at the same time. They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire, Lisa said. We got that much from their first message. They seem to think we should just give up without a fight. Jake looked at the alien fleet again. The ships had bright purple hulls that reflected starlight. They all looked exactly the same. Everything about them screamed military power and order. What do they want? Jake asked. Our planet, our resources. You as slaves, probably. Lisa showed him her tablet. This is the 5th message they sent us. Same words every time. They want us to surrender by tomorrow, or they will take our world by force. Commander Ryan Brooks jogged onto the bridge. His flight suit was covered in grease from working on fighters. He had been preparing Earth's small fleet for 3 days straight. Admiral, the pilots are ready, Ryan said. We have 47 working fighters and 12 patrol ships. The Mars base has 30 more fighters, but they are older models. Jake almost laughed. 77 human ships against 200 alien warships. The aliens probably thought this would be easy. Captain Amy Rodriguez called from the communication station. Sir, we are getting another message from the alien fleet. This one is different. The main screen changed. An alien face appeared. It had blue skin and 4 eyes. Golden armor covered its neck and shoulders. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into English. I am War Commander Thex of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species has 1 day to surrender. We have conquered 47 worlds. Your small fleet cannot stop us. Surrender now, and some of you will live as workers. Fight us, and all of you will die. The message ended. The bridge went quiet. Lisa looked at her research again. Jake, something is strange about their tactics. Look at this. She showed him pictures of the alien fleet. They move in perfect formation. Every ship stays exactly where it should be. They follow rules. Rules? Ryan asked. Military rules. Like they learned warfare from a book and never changed anything. Lisa pointed to the alien formation on the screen. See how they group their ships? Big ones in the center, smaller ones around the edges. It is exactly what you would expect. Jake studied the formation. Lisa was right. The aliens had arranged their fleet like a textbook battle plan. No surprises, no tricks, just standard military formation. Maybe that is how space battles work, Ryan said. We have never fought aliens before. Dr. Lisa shook her head. I studied their message broadcasts. They use the same words every time they conquer a planet. Same threats. Same timeline. Same everything. They do not change their methods. Captain Amy spoke up from her station. Admiral, we are getting reports from our scouts near Mars. The alien ships are moving toward us. They will reach Earth in 18 hours. Jake felt his heart beat faster. 18 hours to save humanity. He looked around the bridge at his small crew. These people had families on Earth. Everyone on the planet was counting on them. Ryan, get your pilots ready. Amy, send a message to all our ships. Tell them to prepare for battle. Jake paused. And send a message to the Mars base. Tell them to use guerrilla tactics. Guerrilla tactics? Ryan asked. Hit and run attacks. Hide behind asteroids. Attack when they do not expect it. Make them chase us. Jake looked at the alien formation. Again, If they follow rules, maybe we can win by breaking those rules. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. That might actually work. Humans are good at being unpredictable. The next 18 hours passed quickly. Human ships spread out across the solar system. They hid behind moons, asteroids, and space stations. The alien fleet moved toward Earth in their perfect formation. War Commander. Vex sat in his command ship. He had done this many times before. First, his fleet would destroy the enemy ships. Then, they would land troops on the planet. The humans would surrender within days. The Zephyrian Empire had never lost a war. They followed the ancient military codes that had worked for thousands of years. Every battle was planned. Every movement had a purpose. War was an art form that they had perfected. "Commander, we are now in range of the human fleet," his aide reported. Vex looked at his battle display. The human ships were scattered everywhere. They were not in formation. They were not following any battle plan he recognized. "This is wrong." Vex said, "Where is their main fleet? Where are their battle lines?" "Sir, our scanners show human ships hidden throughout this system. They are behind asteroids and moons. Some are near the gas giant planets." Vex frowned. This was not how civilized species fought wars. Enemies were supposed to meet in open space. They were supposed to form battle lines and fight with honor. "Send fighters to destroy the ships hiding behind asteroids," Vex ordered. The first battle began near Mars. 50 Zephyrian fighters moved toward the human base. They flew in perfect formation, just like their training taught them. Ray and Brooks led. 12 human fighters out from behind Mars' smaller moon. His pilots had been waiting for hours. They came from below the alien formation, where the aliens had not looked. "Remember, do not fight fair," Ryan told his pilots over the radio. "Hit them and run away." The human fighters attacked the alien. Formation from 6 different directions at once. They fired their weapons and then flew away before the aliens could respond. 3 alien fighters exploded before they knew what happened. The alien pilots tried to follow their training. They formed a defensive circle and called for help. But the human fighters had already disappeared behind asteroids. War Commander Vex watched the battle on his screens. He could not understand what was happening. The humans fought like space pirates, not like a proper military. "Sir, we lost 8 fighters and the humans lost none," his aide reported. "How is that possible? The humans did not stay to fight. They attacked and then ran away." Vex felt confused. In all his years of military service, he had never seen enemies run away from a battle they were winning. It made no sense. Near Earth, more human ships launched surprise attacks. They came from behind space stations and orbital platforms. They used mining ships loaded with explosives. They turned passenger ships into missile boats. Captain Amy Rodriguez commanded a group of converted cargo ships. They looked harmless on alien scanners. When Zephyrian ships came close, the cargo ships opened their holds and launched clouds of small missiles. The aliens had shields that could stop big weapons. But hundreds of tiny missiles confused their defense systems. Several alien ships took damage before they realized the cargo ships were actually warships. Dr. Lisa Parker watched the battles from the command center. She saw something that made her excited and worried at the same time. "Jake, look at this," she said. "The aliens are not adapting. They keep using the same tactics, even though they are not working." Jake saw what she meant. Every time the aliens lost ships, they responded the same way. They sent more ships in the same formation. They followed their training exactly, even when it was not working. They really do not know how to change their plans, Jake said. Commander Vex was getting angry. His perfect fleet was taking losses from an enemy that would not fight properly. The humans kept attacking from unexpected directions. They used weapons that made no sense. They turned civilian ships into warships. This is not how war is supposed to work, Dex said to himself, but the humans were just getting started. Colonel Steve Hunter had been a soldier for 20 years. He had fought in wars on Earth and trained for battles in space. But he had never planned to board an alien warship with nothing but a knife and some explosive charges. The plan was crazy. That was exactly why it might work. Steve floated in space between two destroyed human cargo ships. His team of 12 soldiers drifted nearby, hidden among the wreckage. They wore black spacesuits that made them nearly invisible. Lieutenant Kate Williams spoke quietly over their radio. The alien ship is coming closer. They want to check the wreckage for survivors. Kate was the smartest person Steve knew when it came to messing with enemy minds. She had studied alien psychology for the past week. Her ideas were strange, but they seemed to work. "Remember the plan," Steve whispered to his team. "Let them bring us inside. Then we show them what humans do in close combat." The Zephyrian salvage ship approached the wreckage field. The aliens had never seen enemies hide among destroyed ships before. In their military training, destroyed ships were just obstacles to move around. Engineer Tony Mitchell had rigged the wreckage to look realistic. Broken metal, leaking fuel, scattered equipment. But hidden inside were weapons that no alien would recognize. Hammers from the machine shop, welding torches, even kitchen knives from the ship's dining hall. Tony had learned something important about the aliens. Their technology was advanced, but they only made weapons that looked like weapons. They would not expect humans to fight with tools and eating utensils. The alien ship extended a tractor beam and pulled the wreckage inside its cargo bay. Steve and his team stayed perfectly still as the aliens began to examine the debris. Zephyrian soldiers entered the cargo bay. They carried energy weapons that hummed with power. Their armor was thick and covered with sensors. They looked like walking tanks. The aliens had never fought an enemy up close. For thousands of years, the Zephyrian Empire had won battles with superior technology and overwhelming firepower. Their soldiers were trained to stand far away and shoot at targets. Steve waited until the aliens were deep inside the wreckage field. Then he gave the signal. 12 humans erupted from hiding places among the broken metal. They moved fast and quiet, like hunters who had practiced this dance many times. The first alien soldier tried to raise his energy weapon. Steve tackled him before he could fire. They crashed into a pile of debris together. The alien was strong, but he had never wrestled with another living being. Steve pulled out his knife and stabbed it through a gap in the alien's armor. The alien made a sound that might have been screaming. Steve could not tell through the helmet. The other aliens panicked. Their training had not prepared them for enemies who grabbed and stabbed and fought with their bare hands. One alien fired, his weapon wildly, hitting the walls of his own ship. Lieutenant Kate Williams jumped on the third alien from above. She landed on his back and wrapped her arms around his neck. The alien spun around, trying to throw her off. Kate held on and used a welding torch to cut through his helmet's air tubes. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes. When it was over, 3 alien soldiers were dead, and the humans had captured their first Zephyrian warship. Steve looked around the alien cargo bay. Everything was clean and organized. The walls were covered with screens showing tactical data. It looked more like a library than a warship. "Kate, start broadcasting," Steve said. Kate connected her equipment to the alien communication system. She had prepared a special message for the Zephyrian fleet. It was designed to confuse and frighten them. The message began with sounds from human horror movies: screaming, strange music, voices speaking in whispers. Then Kate's voice came through, speaking calmly over the terrifying sounds. This is Lieutenant Kate Williams of the Human Defense Force. We have captured your ship. Your soldiers fought bravely, but they are dead now. We are coming for the rest of your fleet. We will board your ships. We will hunt you in your own corridors. We will show you how humans fight when there is nowhere to run." The message ended with more horror movie sounds, and then silence. Across the Zephyrian fleet, alien commanders listened to the broadcast with growing fear. They had never heard anything like it. In civilized warfare, enemies did not try to frighten each other. They simply fought until one side won. War Commander Vex received reports from across his fleet. Human ships were attacking in ways that made no sense. They rammed his warships with cargo vessels. They fired weapons made from mining equipment. They sent radio signals that contained terrifying sounds and disturbing images. "Sir, the humans are broadcasting something called movies to our fleet," his communications officer reported. "They show humans fighting monsters and surviving impossible situations. Our soldiers are asking why the humans are sending us entertainment during a battle." Vex looked at one of the human movies on his screen. It showed humans running through dark corridors while something hunted them. The humans in the movie were afraid, but they kept fighting. They used anything they could find as weapons. They worked together to defeat enemies that were bigger and stronger than them. "Turn it off," Vex ordered. But the images stayed in his mind. Pilot Danny Clark flew his experimental fighter through the alien formation. His ship was smaller and faster than anything the Zephyrians had. It had been built for testing new engine designs, not for combat. But Danny had bolted extra weapons onto every available surface. Danny's fighter looked like a flying junkyard. Missiles hung from wire brackets. Machine guns were duct-taped to the wings. A mining laser was welded to the nose. It should not have been able to fly, but somehow it did. The alien pilots tried to follow Danny through an asteroid field. Their ships were bigger and more powerful, but they could not match his speed and agility. Danny flew between asteroids that were only meters apart. He rolled and twisted through spaces that should have been impossible to navigate. The alien pilots had been trained to fly in formation and follow orders. They were not used to making split-second decisions or taking crazy risks. When Danny disappeared behind a large asteroid, they assumed he was hiding. Instead, Danny had attached explosive charges to the asteroid. When the alien ships flew past, he detonated the charges. The explosion sent huge chunks of rock flying in all directions. 4 alien fighters were destroyed by debris. Back on Earth, Dr. Sam Turner studied recordings of alien communications. He was a psychiatrist who usually helped human soldiers deal with stress. Now he was trying to understand how the aliens thought. What he found worried him. "The aliens are starting to break down mentally," Sam told Admiral Morrison. "Listen to this recording from one of their ships." The recording played an alien voice speaking in their own language. The computer translated it into English. "The humans do not follow the war codes. They attack from impossible angles. They use weapons that are not weapons. They make sounds that hurt our minds. How can we fight an enemy that does not obey the rules?" Sam pointed to more recordings. "Their soldiers are reporting nightmares. They are afraid to sleep because they dream about humans hunting them through their ships. Some of them are refusing to leave their quarters." Jake Morrison rubbed his tired eyes. "How is that possible? We have been fighting for only 1 week. The aliens have never faced an unpredictable enemy," Sam explained. "Their entire military system is based on following rules and procedures. When those rules do not work, they do not know what to do." Colonel Steve Hunter's boarding teams had captured 6 more alien ships. Each time, the result was the same. Alien soldiers who were trained for long-range combat could not handle humans, who fought up close with improvised weapons, Steve's soldiers had started collecting trophies from the alien ships. Alien weapons, armor pieces, and strange technology. But the most valuable prize was information. The aliens kept detailed records of everything. Steve's team found files containing the military history of the Zephyrian Empire. Every battle they had ever fought was documented in careful detail. "Look at this," Steve told Kate as they studied the alien files. "Every single battle follows the same pattern. The aliens show up with superior firepower. The enemy forms battle lines. They fight until one side runs out of ships. The winner takes the planet." Kate looked through more files. "It says here that the average war lasts between 6 and 12 days. The longest war in their history was 18 days, and that was against a species that had better shields than usual. They have never fought a war that lasted longer than 18 days? Never. And they have never fought an enemy that used psychological warfare, boarding actions, or improvised weapons." Kate smiled. "We are giving them new experiences." On the Zephyrian command ship, War Commander Vex was having his own new experience. For the first time in his military career, he was afraid. The humans had been fighting for 8 days. By all logic, they should have been defeated days ago. Instead, they seemed to be getting more creative and more dangerous. His aide brought him the daily casualty report. "Sir, we have lost 47 ships. The humans have lost 31 ships, but many of those were deliberately rammed into our vessels." "Deliberately rammed?" "Yes, sir. The humans are using their own ships as weapons. They load them with explosives and crash them into our formations." Vex could not understand this tactic. Ships were valuable. Trained CRE. General Paul Hayes had been planning wars for 30 years. He had never planned one like this. The alien reinforcements had arrived 2 days ago. 2,000 ships filled the space around Earth. Their formation was so large it blocked out stars. The Zephyrian Empire had sent their grand armada, led by Empress Kala herself. Paul stood in the underground command center beneath New York. The walls were covered with screens showing the massive alien fleet. Each screen told the same story. Humanity was completely outnumbered. "They have 50 ships for every one of ours," Captain Lucy Adams reported. She had just returned from a scouting mission to the outer solar system. "But sir, something is wrong with their formation." Paul looked at the tactical display. Lucy was right. The alien fleet was spread out across a huge area. Ships that should have been grouped together were scattered randomly. Some formations had gaps where ships should have been. Dr. Sam Turner walked into the command room, carrying a thick folder. His research into alien psychology had become the most important intelligence they had. "Paul, I have been studying the communications between alien ships," Sam said. "Their military discipline is breaking down. Ship commanders are arguing with each other. Some of them are requesting new orders every few minutes. What does that mean?" Sam opened his folder and showed Paul pages of translated alien messages. "It means they are scared. The original fleet that attacked us has been telling stories to the reinforcements. Stories about how humans fight." Paul read one of the translated messages. An alien ship commander was reporting to his superiors. "The humans do not behave like any enemy in our databases. They attack with tools and civilian equipment. They board our ships and fight with their bare hands. They sacrifice their own vessels to damage ours. They broadcast disturbing images and sounds that affect crew morale. Request immediate psychological support from my crew. They are afraid of us," Paul realized. "More than afraid," Sam said. "They are starting to panic. The Zephyrian Empire has been winning wars for thousands of years using the same methods. Now they are facing an enemy that ignores all their rules, and they do not know how to adapt." Sergeant Mike Davis climbed down into the command center. His armor was still smoking from his last boarding mission. Mike led the teams that captured alien ships, and brought back intelligence. "General, we just finished searching the latest ship we captured," Mike reported. "The aliens have detailed files on every species they have ever conquered. 47 different worlds, and they used the same battle plan every time." Mike showed Paul a tablet containing alien military records. "Look at this. Every species they fought used energy shields, long-range weapons, and traditional battle formations. None of them tried boarding actions. None of them used psychological warfare. None of them fought with improvised weapons." Paul studied the alien records. Every conquered species had followed similar patterns. They built large fleets with powerful weapons. They formed battle lines in space. They fought until one side was destroyed or surrendered. "We are the first species they have met that fights dirty," Paul said. "Yes, sir. And they have no idea how to handle it." Captain Lucy Adams had been listening to the conversation. "General, I have an idea. What if we make their fear worse?" Paul looked at her. "What do you mean?" "Operation Nightmare. We give them something really scary to think about." The plan that Lucy suggested was insane. It was also brilliant. Operation Nightmare began at midnight Earth time. Human ships throughout the solar system began broadcasting on all alien communication frequencies. But instead of military messages, they broadcast human horror stories. The aliens received recordings of humans telling ghost stories around campfires. They heard audio from scary movies about monsters and demons. They listened to news reports about serial killers and natural disasters. The broadcasts were mixed with tactical information that made them seem like real military communications. Alien intelligence officers tried to decode the messages, thinking they contained battle plans. Instead, they found descriptions of humans doing terrible things to their enemies. Lieutenant Kate Williams had designed the psychological warfare campaign. She understood that the aliens had never experienced anything like human imagination when it came to violence and fear. "Humans tell scary stories for fun," Kate explained to General Hayes. "We have thousands of years of practice making each other afraid. The aliens have lived in a peaceful empire for so long that they have forgotten what real fear feels like." The psychological warfare was more effective than anyone had hoped. Alien ship commanders began reporting strange dreams and hallucinations. Crew members started seeing humans in their ships, even when no humans were present. Engineer Tony Mitchell had been working on new weapons for 3 weeks. His latest creation was his masterpiece. He called it the Ghost Ship. The Ghost Ship looked like a destroyed human vessel drifting through space. Its hull was broken, and its engines were dead. Alien scanners showed no life signs and no active weapons. But inside the fake wreckage, Tony had hidden the most powerful bomb humans had ever built. When alien ships came close to investigate, the Ghost Ship would detonate and take out everything within a kilometer. Tony had built 12 ghost ships using wrecked cargo vessels and mining platforms. He scattered them throughout the solar system. Disguised as battle damage from previous fights, the first ghost ship worked perfectly. A Zephyrian patrol found what looked like a damaged human transport. When they moved close to capture it, the ship exploded with the force of a small nuclear weapon. 6 alien vessels were destroyed instantly. The aliens began to fear all human wreckage. Every destroyed ship might contain hidden explosives. Every piece of debris might be a trap. Alien commanders ordered their ships to avoid all human wreckage, even when it might contain valuable intelligence. This fear played perfectly into human hands. Colonel Steve Hunter's boarding teams began hiding inside real wreckage, waiting for alien ships to pass nearby. When the aliens avoided the debris fields, they left themselves open to surprise attacks from other directions. Empress Kala watched the battle reports from her command ship in growing disbelief. Her Grand Armada was the most powerful military. Force in known space. It had never been defeated. But the humans were making her ships afraid of empty space. How many ships have we lost to these trap vessels? She asked her military advisor. 37 ships destroyed, Empress. But the psychological impact is much greater. Our ship commanders are requesting permission to avoid any area that contains human debris. Kala studied the tactical displays. The human debris was everywhere. If her ships avoided all of it, they would have to fly in narrow corridors between the wreckage fields. That would make them predictable and easy to ambush. These humans fight like criminals, Kala said. Her advisor nodded. They do not follow any recognized military protocols. Our commanders are requesting new orders every few hours because their training does not cover these situations. Dr. Sam Turner was monitoring alien communications from the command center on Earth. What he heard made him excited and worried at the same time. Paul, listen to this, Sam said. He played a recording of Empress Kala speaking to her fleet commanders. The alien Empress sounded frustrated and confused. The humans are using tactics that are not tactics. They fight with equipment that is not designed for fighting. They sacrifice valuable assets for minimal tactical gains. How can we defeat an enemy that does not follow logical military principles? One of her commanders responded, Empress, my crew is reporting nightmares about human boarding parties. They are afraid to sleep. Some of them are refusing to leave the secured areas of the ship. Another commander added, the humans broadcast disturbing psychological warfare content mixed with tactical data. My intelligence officers are having difficulty separating real military information from what appears to be fictional entertainment. Sam turned off the recording. They are starting to break down completely. Their military system cannot handle our unpredictability. General Hayes looked at the latest battle reports. Human losses were heavy, but they were causing disproportionate damage to the alien fleet. More importantly, they were destroying alien morale. Sam, how long can we keep this up? Not much longer, Sam admitted. We are losing ships faster than we can replace them. But the aliens might collapse psychologically before we run out of resources. Captain Lucy Adams returned from another scouting mission with disturbing news. General, the aliens are doing something new. They are positioning ships around Earth to prevent anyone from leaving the planet. Paul studied the new alien formation. They are trying to end this quickly. Yes, sir. But they are also moving their ships closer together. They are scared of being isolated where we can pick them off one at a time. Paul smiled. Closer together means more targets for our ghost ships. The battle for Earth was entering a new phase. The aliens had more ships and better technology. But the humans had something the aliens could not understand or counter. Humans had imagination. They had the ability to adapt and improvise. Most importantly, they had thousands of years of experience being afraid and learning to fight back against impossible odds. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 47 worlds by being stronger and more advanced than their enemies. But they had never faced an enemy. Admiral Beth Carter had never seen anything like it in 25 years of military service. The alien fleet was falling apart from the inside. Beth commanded the Earth defense fleet from a hidden base inside the asteroid belt. Her screens showed 2,000 alien ships spread across the solar system. On paper, the humans had already lost this war. In reality, something else was happening. Admiral, we are picking up more alien distress signals, her communications officer reported. 3 more ships are requesting permission to leave their assigned positions. Beth listened to the translated alien messages. Ship commanders were our EPORTING crew members who refused to follow orders, soldiers who would not leave their quarters, entire departments that had stopped functioning because the crew was too afraid to work. Dr. Nick Johnson was studying the psychological breakdown of alien prisoners. Nick was a trauma specialist who usually helped human soldiers recover from battle stress. Now he was documenting how war stress affected alien minds. The aliens process fear differently than humans do, Nick explained to Admiral Carter. Humans have lived with fear and violence for millions of years. Our brains are designed to handle stress and keep functioning. The aliens have lived in a peaceful empire for so long that their minds cannot cope with real terror. Nick showed Beth his research notes. We captured an alien officer yesterday who has been awake for 6 days straight. He is afraid to sleep because he has nightmares about humans hunting him through his ship. When I asked him why he was so scared, he said that humans fight like demons. Demons? That is the word their language uses for supernatural evil beings. They think we are not natural creatures because we do not follow their rules of warfare. Major Alex Thompson walked into the command center carrying a tablet full of intelligence reports. Alex ran the Information Warfare Division that had been broadcasting psychological attacks against the alien fleet. Admiral, the aliens are starting to believe our fake messages, Alex said. We have been broadcasting stories about human soldiers who can survive in space without suits, humans who can see in total darkness, and humans who feel no pain. The aliens think these stories are real military intelligence. Beth looked at the fake intelligence reports that Alex's team had been broadcasting. They were ridiculous. Stories about human super soldiers who could tear apart alien ships with their bare hands. Reports of human commanders who could predict the future. Messages about secret human weapons that could destroy entire fleets. They believe this nonsense? Yes, ma'am. They have no experience with human fiction or propaganda. When we broadcast a story about humans who can survive being shot 10 times, they think it is a real after-action report. Pilot Sarah Collins had been flying stealth missions for 2 weeks. Her job was to get close to alien ships and gather intelligence without being detected. What she found on her latest mission shocked her. Admiral, I managed to get inside an alien command ship, Sarah reported. The crew is barely functioning. Half the workstations were empty. The aliens I saw looked exhausted and scared. Sarah showed Beth video recordings from inside the alien ship. The corridors were dimly lit and mostly empty. The few aliens she had seen were moving slowly and looking over their shoulders constantly. They have posted guards at every entrance and exit, Sarah continued. But the guards are not watching for external threats. They are watching each other. They think human infiltrators might already be inside their ships. Beth studied the video. How many humans have actually infiltrated their ships? As far as we know, none. They are guarding against an enemy that is not there. The psychological warfare campaign was working better than anyone had hoped. The aliens were so afraid of human infiltrators that they were seeing threats everywhere. Crew members reported suspicious sounds in empty corridors. Maintenance workers found evidence of human presence in areas that no human had ever entered. Colonel Steve Hunter's boarding teams had stopped trying to capture alien ships. Instead, they focused on making the aliens more afraid. Steve's soldiers would sneak close to alien vessels and attach devices that made strange sounds or flashing lights. The aliens would detect these signals and assume they were under attack. We do not even have to board their ships anymore, Steve told Admiral Carter. We just have to make them think we might board their ships. They are doing the rest to themselves. The alien fleet was consuming enormous resources trying to defend against threats that did not exist. Ships were posting double guards and running constant security sweeps. Crew members were working extra shifts because they were afraid to sleep. A lone Commander Vex of the Zephyrian Third Fleet had been a soldier for 40 years. He had participated in 12 conquest campaigns. He had never been afraid of anything in his life. Now he was terrified to leave his command chamber. Vex looked at the reports from his ship's security teams. They had found evidence of human infiltration in 17 different locations. Scratches on walls that looked like human writing. Strange smells that might indicate human presence. Sounds in the ventilation system that could be human movement. "Sir, we found more evidence in Cargo Bay 7, his security chief reported. Scratch marks on the floor that appear to be made by human tools. Vex studied the photographs. The scratches could have been made by anything. Normal wear and tear from loading equipment. Damage from routine maintenance. But his tired mind saw messages left by human infiltrators. Double the guards on all critical systems, Vex ordered. Sir, we have already doubled the guards twice. We do not have enough crew members to guard everything and still operate the ship. Vex knew his security chief was right. But he also knew that humans could appear anywhere at any time. They could be hiding in the walls. They could be disguised as his own crew members. They could be watching him right now. On Earth, General Paul Hayes received reports from human spy networks throughout the solar system. The news was better than he had dared to hope. 17 alien ships have abandoned their positions, his intelligence officer reported. They are returning to the main fleet because their crews refuse to operate alone. Paul looked at the updated, tactical display. The alien formation was getting smaller and more compact as ships moved closer together for mutual protection. They were abandoning their strategic positions because they were too afraid to maintain them. How many ships are still combat effective? We estimate that less than half the alien fleet is operating at full capacity. The rest are dealing with crew problems, security alerts, or equipment failures caused by paranoia. Dr. Sam Turner had been monitoring alien communications for weeks. His latest analysis showed that the Zephyrian Empire was experiencing something that had never happened in their history. They are having a military mutiny, Sam told General Hayes. Not a rebellion against their leaders, but a breakdown of their entire command structure. Ship commanders are refusing orders that they think are too dangerous. Crew members are abandoning their posts. Some ships are reporting that their soldiers will not fight anymore. Sam showed Paul recordings of alien communications. Listen to this message from one of their battleship commanders to Empress Kala. The recording played an alien voice speaking. Frantically, Empress, my crew believes that humans are already inside our ship. They hear sounds in the walls. They see shadows that should not be there. I have ordered complete security sweeps, but my soldiers are afraid to enter the lower decks alone. We cannot maintain combat readiness under these conditions. Paul shook his head in amazement. We have broken their army without destroying it. It gets worse, Sam continued. Some alien ships are reporting crew members who have stopped eating because they think humans have poisoned their food supplies. Others are reporting soldiers who refuse to sleep because they have nightmares about human boarding parties. The psychological collapse was spreading through the alien fleet like a disease. Ships that had never encountered humans were becoming afraid because they heard stories from ships that had. The fear was growing stronger as it spread from crew to crew. Major Alex Thompson's information warfare team had discovered something incredible about alien psychology. The Zephyrians had no concept of fiction or imagination when it came to military matters. They treat every human transmission as factual intelligence, Alex explained. When we broadcast a horror movie about humans surviving impossible injuries, they think it is a documentary about human super soldiers. When we send them a story about humans who can read minds, they believe it is a real military capability. Report. Alex showed Admiral Carter a list of fake human abilities that the aliens now believed were real. Humans who could become invisible. Humans who could survive in vacuum without spacesuits. Humans who could predict the future and anticipate every alien move. They think we are some kind of supernatural species, Alex said. They cannot understand how we keep winning battles we should lose, so they have decided we must have magical powers. Empress Kala sat in her private chambers aboard the flagship of the Grand Armada. She had not slept properly in 6 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw images of human warriors doing impossible things. Her military advisors had given up trying to plan conventional attacks. Every strategy they developed fell apart when they tried to predict what the humans would do next. The President Karen Lewis had been preparing for this moment for 3 weeks. She sat in the negotiation room deep beneath the United Nations building in New York. Across from her sat Empress Kala of the Zephyrian Empire, flanked by her remaining military advisors. The alien empress looked nothing like the powerful ruler who had arrived with 2,000 warships. Her blue skin was pale, and her 4 eyes darted nervously around the room. She jumped at every small sound. Ambassador Frank Miller sat beside President Lewis. Frank had spent his career negotiating with difficult world leaders. He had never negotiated with aliens who were having nervous breakdowns. "Your Majesty," Frank began carefully, "we appreciate your willingness to discuss a peaceful resolution to this conflict." Empress Kala's translator device converted her words into English. We wish to end this war immediately. Our fleet will leave your solar system. We will not return." President Lewis tried to hide her relief. After weeks of impossible battles, the aliens were surrendering, but she needed to understand why. "May I ask what changed your mind about conquering Earth?" Kala looked at her advisors before answering. "Your species is not what we expected. You do not fight like any civilization we have encountered. Our military forces are no longer capable of continuing this campaign." Admiral Jake Morrison sat at the end of the table. He had been fighting the aliens since the first day of the war. Even he was surprised by how completely the alien military had collapsed. "Your Majesty, our intelligence suggests that many of your ships are still combat capable," Jake said. "You could continue fighting if you chose to." "No," Kala replied quickly. "Our soldiers will not fight your species anymore. They are afraid that continued combat will trigger your Omega Protocol." Frank Miller exchanged glances with President Lewis. The Omega Protocol had been their final bluff, a fake threat about telepathic networks and hidden human agents. The fact that the aliens still believed it was real showed how deeply their fear had taken root. Dr. Lisa Parker entered the negotiation room, carrying a tablet full of research data. Lisa had been studying Zephyrian culture and psychology since the war began. Her insights had helped design many of the psychological warfare tactics that had broken the alien military. "Your Majesty," Lisa said, "our psychologists have been studying the stress levels in your fleet. We are concerned about the mental health of your soldiers and crew members." Kala looked surprised by the statement. In all the wars the Zephyrian Empire had fought, no enemy had ever expressed concern for alien casualties. "Many of our warriors are experiencing psychological trauma," Kala admitted. "They report nightmares, inability to sleep, and fear of spaces. That should be safe. Our medical officers do not know how to treat these conditions." Dr. Lisa nodded sympathetically. "We call it post-traumatic stress disorder. Humans have been dealing with it for thousands of years. We have treatments that can help your soldiers recover. You would help our warriors, even though we came here to conquer your world?" President Lewis leaned forward. "Your Majesty, humans believe in showing mercy to defeated enemies. We have no desire to cause unnecessary suffering." The concept of mercy toward enemies was foreign to Zephyrian military culture. In their previous conquests, defeated species were either enslaved or eliminated. The idea that humans would offer medical help to alien soldiers confused and frightened Kala even more. Ambassador Miller presented the terms of the peace agreement. The conditions were surprisingly simple. The Zephyrian fleet would leave Earth's solar system immediately. They would not return or attempt future attacks. In exchange, humans would provide psychological counseling for traumatized alien soldiers and safe passage home for the entire fleet. We also request that you share information about our military capabilities with other species in the galaxy, President Lewis said. Kala looked confused. You want us to tell other civilizations about human warfare tactics? We want other species to know that humans prefer peaceful contact, Frank explained. But we also want them to understand that we can defend ourselves if necessary. Admiral, Morrison added, think of it as a warning system. Any species that considers attacking Earth should know what they are getting into. Kala understood the real meaning behind the request. Humans wanted the entire galaxy to know that the mighty Zephyrian Empire had been defeated by a species that most civilizations would consider primitive. The message would be clear. Do not fight humans. Dr. Sam Turner joined the negotiations to discuss the psychological impact of the war on both species. Sam had been studying how the conflict had affected human and alien minds. Your Majesty, our research shows that your species has lived in peace for so long that you have lost the ability to adapt to unpredictable threats, Sam explained. Humans evolved on a world where survival required constant adaptation to new dangers. You are saying that humans are naturally suited for warfare? We are saying that humans are naturally suited for chaos, Sam replied. We learn to survive by being creative, unpredictable, and resilient. These same traits make us difficult enemies to fight. Kala absorbed this information with growing understanding. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered other species by being stronger and more advanced, but they had never faced an enemy that was more adaptable. Your species fights with tools that are not weapons, Kala said. You use civilian equipment for military purposes. You attack from directions that should be impossible. You make your enemies afraid by telling stories. President Lewis nodded. Humans have always had to make do with whatever we could find. We learned to turn anything into a weapon if we needed to. And you do this naturally, without training? Every human child learns to improvise and adapt, Lisa Parker explained. We play games that teach us to solve problems creatively. We tell stories that prepare us for unexpected dangers. By the time we become adults, thinking outside normal rules is second nature. The implications of this explanation terrified Kala. If every human was naturally capable of the kind of innovative warfare that had destroyed her fleet, then humanity represented a threat unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. But the humans were also offering friendship and medical assistance to their defeated enemies. This combination of dangerous capabilities and unexpected mercy made them even more incomprehensible. The peace negotiations concluded with an agreement that satisfied both species. The Zephyrian fleet would leave immediately and never return. Humans would provide medical support and safe passage. Most importantly, the Zephyrian Empire would warn other species about human military capabilities. As Empress Kala prepared to leave Earth, she made one final request. President Lewis, may I ask you a personal question? Of course, Your Majesty. During this war, your species demonstrated abilities that seem impossible. Soldiers who could survive terrible injuries. Warriors who could predict our movements. Agents who could infiltrate our most secure facilities. Are these capabilities real? President Lewis smiled gently. Your Majesty, humans are very good at making other people believe things that are not entirely true. We call it psychological warfare. So the Omega Protocol is not real? The Omega Protocol was a story we told to make you afraid of attacking Earth. Kala felt a mixture of relief and new terror. Relief that humanity did not actually have telepathic networks throughout the galaxy. Terror that humans were so skilled at deception that they could convince an advanced alien empire to believe impossible things. How did you know we would believe such stories? Ambassador Miller answered, "We studied your species and learned that you had never encountered enemies who used deception as a military tactic. We designed our psychological warfare to exploit that weakness." The final lesson of the war became clear to Kala. Humans had defeated the Zephyrian Empire not through superior technology or greater numbers, but through superior understanding of psychology and warfare. They had studied their enemies, identified weaknesses, and created tactics specifically designed to exploit those weaknesses. It was a level of strategic thinking that the Zephyrian Empire had never encountered. As the alien fleet prepared to leave Earth's solar system, Empress Kala transmitted a message that would be received by every civilized species in the galaxy. "This is Empress Kala of the Zephyrian Empire. We have concluded our military campaign in the Sol system. The species known as humans has demonstrated military capabilities that exceed our ability to counter any civilization considering contact with. Humanity should be aware that they possess tactical and psychological warfare abilities unlike any previously encountered. The Zephyrian Empire recommends extreme caution in any future interactions with this species." The message was broadcast across subspace communication networks to hundreds of different worlds. Within days, every major civilization in the galaxy had received the warning. The message had its intended effect. 3 different alien species that had been planning expeditions to Earth immediately canceled their missions. 2 others changed their plans, from conquest to peaceful diplomacy. But the most significant impact was on the Galactic Council, the loose alliance of species that governed interstellar relations. The Council had never received a report like Kala's message. According to their records, the Zephyrian Empire had never lost a military campaign. The fact that they had been defeated by a previous